सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्म तत्त्वं युवानम् वर्षिष्ठान्ते वसदृशिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपम् स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे। वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णम् सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवम् जननमरणदुःखच्छेददक्षन्नमामि। चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्या गुरुर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्नसंशयः निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। विश्वन्दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतम् पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद् भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। Seeing the Swarupa Lakshana of Bhagavan in the first verse, which was Vishwam Darpana Drishyam Nagari, where the whole Jagat is superimposed, is to be understood, is to be seen as superimposed upon, consciousness. Whose consciousness? There is no my consciousness and your consciousness. All that is there is consciousness, and the whole Jagat is projected upon that consciousness. Like even what? You project the, we have our stock example, snake rope, etc. Except that, this is not a correct example to use here. Even though Adi Shankara uses it in the introduction to the Chandogya Upanishad, the 6th chapter, he uses this, that the whole Jagat is projected like even the snake is projected on the rope, But this is not a happy example, because when you see the rope snake, I mean, naturally it creates fear, and so we cannot, that parallel is inescapable, because then the Jagat is seen as an object of fear. Inbuilt into the Jagat is fear. We have to remove that. So therefore we have to see this as so we cannot sort of conflate Ishvara Srishti, which is being talked about in verse number 2, with Jiva Srishti. Jiva Srishti means what? One's own creation. And in Sanskrit it is called Pratibhasikam. Pratibhasika means, I see it, and therefore it is there. Whereas Ishvara Srishti is, it is there, therefore I see it. And so the rope snake example has some limitations. So that's why the dream is very, useful here. Because the dream is neutral and a universal, experience. And in the dream, what happens? What happens is that, you go into a nirvikalpa state. You're not interacting with anything. There is no form, there is no name. You don't have a name. You may as well not have a form. And and then from that very consciousness, you project the universe of which you are the author. And that's a better example. So in the first mantra, we are coerced and convincingly to see the universe as a projection of that very consciousness which is to be understood as oneself. We have to walk the eye, just like when the small children are learning how to walk, the parents hold their hands and make them walk, help them to walk. And so in the same way, you walk the eye notion from occupying the place of identification as the body, as the mind, as the senses, as the knower of everything that is in the Jagat. So you walk it all the way to just understand itself as nothing but consciousness. And then, that is the first verse, and that nothing but consciousness, if you understand that is what Dakshinamurthy is. Dakshinamurthy Swarupa is your Swarupa when this is understood, and when the eye has been walked over from identifying as the knower, as the, as the manta, thinker, seer, all these things are, just with regard to something, with regard to what is seen, what is, object of thought, etc. But here, the eye is cleanly walked over to what? Walked over to consciousness. And then the next mantra the stanza that we have just chanted talks about the nature of this Jagat. The nature of this Jagat, where did it come from? And this is highly contested by the agnostics, and by the, believers. The believers have their own idea. God sitting in heaven, created this world out of nothing. Nothing means what? We have to add nothing else other than oneself, but that is not properly understood. Then, even in our own, even our own version of that is there. Bhagavan created and sitting in somewhere in, where is that? Some Vrindavan, some place called, Indian heaven. And then Vedic, post-Vedic Indian heaven. And then what do you do there? And then you go as a jiva and then go and play some, some stick game with Krishna after death. That is, people really think that, And so like this, people literally believe that. So we have the literalists, we have the agnostics, we have the atheists, and then we have the logicians, and the various forms of those logicians, Naiyayikas, Vaisheshikas. And then we have these, Sankhyas, which say that, suddenly, fadar, everything was dropped in this universe, and then the conscious principle, which is Purusha, had nothing to do with, with the creation. And so this way, there's all these beliefs. And those beliefs are equally notional. Yeah. Because whether you believe, there is no proof. There is no proof for any of these things. How are you going to prove that sitting there everything was dropped? And on the 6th day, on the 7th day, 6th day, Bhagavan said, yo, forgot to put light, and then dropped some light, dropped the sun, and then 7th day got tired and took rest. All these are very beautiful things to believe in. We don't, chastise anybody for believing in it, but we cannot tout that as a fact. That is the problem. That is the problem. And here, all these, so-called notions that are parading as facts, whether they are associated with with religions, or whether they are associated with philosophies, are all just put to rest. You give them a mass funeral all at once in this, stanza. They're all having a mass funeral. They're all, completely put, rest in peace, no problem, rest in peace. And that is basically what the whole thing is. So then how should this world be understood? The world, and then we have some beautiful examples here. Bijasya ankuraha iva. So just as the sapling, we saw this yesterday, the sapling is there as a possibility in the seed, and then given the correct conducive environment. And what is that environment? Soil, fertilizer, all these things, nutrition, soil, water, sunlight, all these things. Then that possibility is collapsed, in the words of the physicists. That possibility is realized, and this is what is to be understood here. So when was, so sadeva asid, so it was, this universe was existent. How? Nirvikalpa, without form. Existent as what? As a possibility. The software for the universe was already there. Now how come this is not your belief? Well, because you see this drishyatvat. You see so many things. You see that the manifest universe is there, and you see that on a good day when you are at peace with yourself, the universe has no power to disturb you. You can meet somebody who you don't like and you are still able to say good morning, hello, how are you? Because you know that you're not in danger, because you're fully abiding in the present moment, and you're contented. On the same, and so the same person presents themselves when you're not in a good mood, and then your day goes even worse. We have seen that. We've seen this experientially. We have seen this. So and then in the sleep state, the Jagat does not disturb you at all. There is social injustice. There is, mass shootings like we just had in New Zealand. There is, people not getting food. There is all kinds of things. Plus personal problems. Your debt has not gone, and so many things are there. Still, in sleep, the Jagat doesn't have the possibility or the capacity to disturb. So there is vyabhichara. Vyabhichara means there is a contradiction between the waking state and the contented state and the sleeping state, vis-a-vis one's, relationship with the Jagat. And so what does that tell us? That the Jagat, if the Jagat is a cause of disturbance, it should be disturbing always. But you don't even have to study big philosophies, Rousseau, Kant and all those things. You don't have to study. Your own experience, that the Jagat does not have the capacity to disturb all the time. So that means what? That the nature of the Jagat is not to disturb. And so the disturbance is where? Right here. The disturbance is in my perception or my relationship to the Jagat, not the Jagat itself per se. And so Bijasya, so the whole Jagat, where, then the question is, what is the reality of this Jagat? What is the status of this Jagat, with regard to my own status? So I am existent, correct? And the Jagat is also existent. Then what is the, so are there two sources of existences? And this is, this is dismissed in the second line. Vaichitrya chitrikritam. No, the Jagat did not come about on its own. Why? Because it is dependent upon consciousness. Are you dependent upon consciousness? No, you are consciousness that is independent of the Jagat. The Jagat is dependent upon consciousness because everything is dependent upon consciousness, and that consciousness endowed with the Shakti to create, the power to create and the intelligence to create together is called Bhagavan. That's what it is. Medha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, the Shakti to create, the Shakti to, the intelligence, Medha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Ichha Shakti, the ability to conceptualize. All this is a projection, like even in your dream. So then Ishvara, am I trapped in Ishvara's dream or Ishvara's nightmare? No, the dream example is just to show the projection and the withdrawal of the projection. Evam eva, that's all. Because what example can you give, for Atma? No example suffices. All of them will have problems. So the Jagat is projected, retracted, projected, withdrawn, just like your dream. And there are multiple cycles. And along with that, we are reminded that space and time are not concrete. Space and time are also creations, and space and time are as relative as everything else. And so this Maya Shakti, and we saw Maya Shakti yesterday, which has the power to make, to make this projection, appear to shine as real. Even like the rope snake, along with its slimy, surface, along with all the rings on the tail of the snake, and then along with the hood of the cobra of the rope snake, shines. All the patterns are there. It all shines erroneously, just like that. So this Maya, I told you, equipped with Maya, Bhagavan, it is Bhagavan. That same consciousness is known as Bhagavan, equipped with Maya Shakti, and that same consciousness equipped with the shadow side of Maya Shakti, which is self-ignorance. It's known as the Jiva, the one who is gazing upon the universe with longing, with fear, with a kind of a discontent. That's all it is. So here from Ishvara's side, it is explained very beautifully. māyākalpita deshakala kalana vaichitra chitrikritam. The whole sentence is one word. So, māyākalpita. So, created by Maya, imagined by Maya. What? Deshakala kalana. Deshakala kalana means along with Desha and Kala. Kalana means like a cacophony. So this Desha and Kala like a spoof. Yeah, Kalana means like a creation, like a, putting together. So this whole big, vast Jagat is put together along with the skeins, the threads of space and time. Let's say the space is the canvas, let us say, and the time is the thread, embroidery thread. Maya is the embroiderer, seamstress. And then what? What are you? You are just stressed. That's all. You just have stress. Because of what? You're trapped in so to speak, because of the identification with the self-ignorance, trapped in this show of Maya. So Kalana here means this performance of Maya. One is trapped because the skeins, the embroidery threads of this, whether you take it as embroidery or this weaving, like the handloom, you keep weaving, and so there are, threads this way, and then there are threads this way, and then in the handloom you keep putting you keep moving this machine back and forth, and then the threads are fed into the machine like this, and then you keep weaving, in between it goes. And so the warp, which is the long threads, our what? Our space, and the woof, which is the horizontal threads, are time. It's called woof because each time that handloom machine is passed back and forth, it makes this woof woof sound. Also called, I think, weft. So warp and weft or warp and woof, meaning this is space and time. And inside that, Vaichitya Chitri Kritam, many pictures are emerging. Here's a dog, here's a cat. Oh, they're my pets. Yes, what shall I get them for Christmas? You're trapped in this and wondering. And then this is my house. This is not my house. This one is my house. This one is, this one is mine. And that one is yours. And then this whole area, belongs to me. Let us draw up a deed to make sure that it is there. Indeed, let us do that. And then the deed is drawn up, and then stamp paper, and then sign, seal, and then you go and show it to some municipal authority. Where? In this tapestry. Yes, in this tapestry, everything is there. And then you say, oh, the neighbor has encroached 6 inches. 6 inches, let them encroach. What is that? No. I have to put a fence. Why? Because I'm on the defense and they are on the offense. Therefore, fence. And then you go to the municipal authority. We need another estimate. We need you to come and measure everything. And the municipal authority comes with their own measuring devices, tapes and people and coming, and vans and everything, because you asked for another survey. And then what? And then that survey is also part of the tapestry. And sitting there you say, why is it taking so much time? And you look at the clock, part of the tapestry. Time, part of the tapestry. Maya tapestry, which is a travesty. Space, part of the tapestry. Because I feel trapped in the threads. I feel like I cannot get out. Everything is just woven like even like nowadays they have these, what is that, these custom saris, one of a kind. At least that's what they tell. But everybody is wearing them, so I don't think it's one of a kind. So the whole Ramayana is etched in the weaving, in the sari. So you have baby Rama crying for the moon. Where? In the sari. And then we have the Mother Kaushalya clapping her hands and asking the palace attendants to bring a big, what is that, cauldron of water, a big dish of water. And the moon is reflected in the next scene. Baby Rama is splashing the water and then getting very happy. And the whole palace is enjoying this baby, baby Avatara having fun with trying to capture the moon in this water, trying to capture the reflection of the moon. Where is this? In the sari. And then you have all these various things on the border, and then you have sad scenes, Sita being abducted by bad Ravana in the sari, very, very sorry. And then you have that, what is that, the Jatayu, the mascot, the Garuda, the eagle, fighting for, going after this plane, which Ravana had. And then, he was taking her away, so it flew behind him and then pecked him everywhere, and then he cut off the wings, so it lay dying where? In the sari. And then, Hanumanji leaps over the ocean where? In the sari. And then what happens? And then he goes there and looks for Sita first in the palace. In all the palace areas, in the harem of Ravana, where the main queen stays, everywhere. And then he says, what a fool am I? Why will Sita be enjoying the palace? She will not be here. Then he goes to a very secluded wooden, area, woods, and then called Ashokavanam, where? In the sari. And then, he finds her there, introduces himself, shows, Rama's ring. Where? In the sari. Then you have a big fight between Ravana and this one. Oh, first he sets Lanka on fire before coming back. Where? In the sari. And then you have this big fight between the Asuras and the, the Vanaras. And the Vanaras have their own way of fighting, and they don't say, oh, may I please bash you in the head. They don't have any diplomacy. Yeah, they just take, the Vanaras pick up one Asura and then another Asura, and they don't have any kind of, like in the Mahabharata, they don't have arrows, smart arrows that have name of the person. No such thing. What do they have? They just have their bare hands. So one Asura, one of them picks with the left hand, another Asura picked from the right hand, and then you look at them. What do you do now? You just, how to destroy both of them. You just bash their heads together. Finished. Each one is the cause of the death of the other. And then you throw them and then pick up two more Asuras. That's all it is. And then that's why, the whole thing is what? Projected in the border of the sari. And then, of course, the main scene is reserved for what is called there is no translation for this, the anchal, the pallu, the place which is nicely seen, the edge of it. And what is that? Pattabhisheka, where, all of them come back from Sri Lanka. Ravana is killed. Vibhishana is put on the throne. Lanka prospers again. And then Rama comes back with Sita, Hanuman, Lakshmana, everybody. And then there is a big coronation that is put at the edge of the sari, because that is the final scene of the Ramayana. Oh, but what about when Sita is ousted back? That is not part of the Ramayana. That's a later interpolations. None of the scholars, if you look at it for 2 minutes, you will see that Valmiki did not write it. Some man with a grudge wrote it later on. That's all it is. Yeah, man-made. So, and then all this whole Ramayana, unique, sari. And then Bhagavatam in the sari, all the Krishna's antics, everything. So this is exactly how it is. So the whole Jagat is woven. So the time is part of the weaving. Space is part of the weaving. And your feeling trapped is also part of, because you are in the skeins of space and time. So Vaichitrya Chitri Kritam. So your whole life, along with all its scenes, are beautifully, depicted in the sari of this Jagat. This unending sari of this Jagat. Everything is beautifully depicted. How? And there are a lot of contesting things here. People think that, some scientists and even ancient scientists talked about this. They said that the world randomly comes into being. Some low-level scientists. None of the proper scientists will talk about that. The world just randomly came into being. Molecules assembled into liver, kidneys, eyes, and bones and structures. Suddenly, without any impetus, without any cause, and this is just a random universe. You just take the last part of the word random, it is dumb to think that it is random. Because nothing is random. You see, everything. That's why if it was random, I tell you, you can't even walk to your grocery shop. You cannot even do that, because then gravity would be random. If the Jagat was random, there would be no branch of knowledge. Aparavidya would be gone. Why? Because then there's no way of studying something that is random. But here we have physics, we have astrophysics, we have all these hyphenated branches of knowledge which are becoming more and more and more and more specialized, because there is so much to see. And what is there to see is not random. You see patterns. Because you cannot study that which is random. It's random. Then how would you study it? But these patterns, that's why the scientist gets ecstatic. Astrophysics, biochemistry, microbiology, and botany, and even that botany has so many things. So many kinds of, sub-specializations. And you look in the medical sciences, and all the doctors from podiatrists to neurologists from toe to head are waiting for you to come to one of them. Please come, I have my shingle, I am qualified. I'm a podiatrist. I have some problem in my ankle. No. Then you have to go to another ankleologist, I suppose, because my area is just the foot, not above the foot. And then I suppose if one is a dermatologist, then your knowledge is skin deep. We can say. So like this, there is so many super specializations. Why? Because one branch of knowledge has branched out because there is too many patterns. It drives the scientist crazy in a good way, because then the scientist sees the pattern. That pattern we say is the name for Dakshinamurthy, is Ishvara, is Bhagavan. What is wrong with that? This we have to be able to see. That pattern alone is Bhagavan. The fact that it is not random, because if if gravity was random, it couldn't even be discovered. Forget Newton. Newton's mummy would be floating around in space and falling down sometimes whenever the gravity just kicked in. So if the mother is roaming around in space, the mother to be, where would Newton be? He would also be somewhere in space, floating around and falling down. That it can be discovered, that it can be studied, that it can be communicated, that the patterns can be seen. And when the scientist is in touch with the pattern, and why scientist? When you are in touch with the pattern, you are in touch with Ishvara. You are seeing this whole thing that is described here. Māyākalpita desha kala kalana vaichitrya chitri kritam. Vaichitriya means these various and many and varied things are chitri kritam, are made into into an orchestra like performance. In a musical performance, everything has a role, everybody has a role. The conductor has a role. Conductor here is Ishvara. And then even the person who is keeping time has a role. Everybody has a role. And like a flawless orchestra, flawless in its presentation. So this presentation, Chitri Kritam, this performance called the Jagat, is orchestrated by whom? Is given in line number 3. Maya viva, Maya vi iva, Maya viva vijrimbayati api mahayogi iva yah svechaya. Beautiful. The one who is like a Mayavin. Mayavin means what? The one who is not coming under the spell of Maya, because because that Bhagavan is all knowledge. Maya becomes a consort to him, a consort to him. Maya is nothing here except Lord Dakshinamurthy's Shakti. I told you when I showed the photograph that the left side is feminine, carrying the Veda, carrying the fire. The fire is that of creation. So carrying the knowledge, the fire of creation, the fire of knowledge. So that is what it is. So Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti is just the left side of Lord Dakshinamurthy. It is not some other, force other than him. So you cannot no longer say him, because him is her, her is him. And so this him, her, and this gender is given only for us to be able to understand. There is no gender for Bhagavan. No gender at all. And we just say him, we say her, because, for us to visualize and understand, for the sake of worship, the gender is given. For the sake of comprehension and assimilation, the gender is given. So Mayavi here means magician, like even a magician. Mayavin means magician. So when you see the magician, long sleeves they will be wearing, and then some cards will be there. Pick a card, any card here. All 52 of them are given. Actually, they might be 55 or only 48, we don't know. But we assume in good faith that the whole pack of cards is there. And then you take one. Please take one. Look at it carefully. Please don't show me. And then put it back. And then I'll shuffle it. And then what? Okay, I'll shuffle it and give you the pack, the search for the card. And the person looks, well, my card is not there. Where is my card? This is magic. And then they'll distract the person for some time. They'll get the person from the audience to do this. And then after that, suddenly they will pick something out of the ear and your card was behind your ear. Like this. Or they will say, I will pick your card. Is this your card? Trick number 2. How did you know that is my card? Because he had just put the card there and he was just pretending to shuffle. He or she did not shuffle at all. And the card was just there where he said, okay, place the card here. And then he was pretending to shuffle with a sleight of hand. And then the card was right there and he could pick it out. So like this, Mayavi Iva. But the magician relies on some local tricks, including hypnosis. But here, this is not our Ishvara. That's why Iva, like even a very great magician, who gives the impression of something happening when that thing is not happening. Like even the lady being sawn in half. So one lady comes and she dances, she's wearing nice dress and she dances around the stage and then gets into this box and then he's got this big, and then everything is closed up except the head and 2 feet and 2 hands coming out of little holes in this box. And then he pretends to saw this lady, the audience is aghast, They had nothing better to do except come and watch this. And then what? And the box separates. And then, and the lady is motionless. Oh no, what happened? Actually, there are 2 women. The feet belong to someone else. And the head belongs to someone else. So that's all it is. So the 2 ladies all squished in these boxes. And then what? And then he pretends to bring it together, abracadabra, and then he puts a cloth on the box and then he removes the cloth and the lady that went in jumps out and the other lady is still cramped and then the box is wheeled in the back and she says, thank God, now I can come out and enjoy fresh air. The lady with the feet then comes out in the backstage. So this is Mayavi Iva. Vijrimbayati Srijati. Srijati means creates all this. Vijrimbayati means creates with a pomp, with a finesse, with a performance. Look at what I'm doing. Pashyame yogam aishwaram. Hey Arjuna. 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Matsthani sarva bhutani, nacha matsthani bhutani, pashyame yogamaishwaram. Look at this magic of mine, O Arjuna. Everything has come from me, but really speaking, I am not connected to anything at all that has come out. Nothing is separate from consciousness, but consciousness is not any one thing. Everything is consciousness. Consciousness is not any one thing. Look at this magic. All the magicians are just so boring compared with this magic and the magician of the Jagat, namely Ishvara. Or he gives another example. Api here means va or. Maha, Mahayogi va. Or like even a great Siddha. Who is this Siddha? Siddha means the one who has all these what are they called? Siddhis, of course. Yeah, how could I forget that? So, Siddha means the one who has all these Siddhis. Ashta Siddhaya. Like even, Anima, Garima, Laghima, like this. The power, Hanumanji had all these things. The power to become very small, the power to, telekinesis, telepathy, tele this, tele that, all these things. And, Siddhis. So the Siddha, Mahayogi, so all kinds of powers are there to make lightning happen. And who is this Mahayogi? Vishwamitra here, one example. Many Mahayogis, but Vishwamitra was, considered to be a Mahayogi because of the force of the tapas, got all these siddhis. But sometimes these siddhis come and they become a distraction from pursuit of the truth of oneself. And that's what happened with Vishwamitra, because he became a yogi, a Mahayogi, and had all these siddhis. And one low life came to him, Trishanku, and not the Trishanku which is venerated in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Aham vrikshasya reriva kirtif prishtangireriva, not that one. Iti Trishankor vedanu vachanam. Not that was a great sage who had self knowledge and who was expressing delight at having gained self knowledge. But this was some other riffraff, riffraff rishi called Trishanku, same name. And then he went and petitioned Vishwamitra, Are, mujhe heaven bhej do na, please send me to heaven now. And Vishwamitra says, gladly, no problem, I'll send you to heaven. He didn't even see whether this person is qualified to go to Swarga, heaven. He just said, I'll send you because I have the power to send you. This will give me a chance to show off my powers of Mahayogi. So he sends him to heaven. Indra boots him at the door itself. Even before he enters the pearly gates and enjoys a welcome drink, in these 5-star hotels when you go, even before you check into the room, they come with a tray of some welcome drink, So like I'm just imagining in the gates of heaven, he's approaching and he's about to, put his paws on the welcome drink, soma juice or something exotic. And then Indra snatches the drink from his hand and he says, you are not qualified to enter. I don't see your name anywhere on the list. He boots him back. And Trishanku says, I am coming down back to Bhu. Down means, metaphoric. It's not up and down. It's parallel universes. I'm coming back. And then Vishwamitra gets enraged. Who came against my order of sending this, riffraff rishi to heaven, to Swarga? Indra says, it's me. He cannot come here. He doesn't have even one whit of punya to come here. He's some, low life rishi. How dare you send him here? And Vishwamitra says, I am going to send you back with my power. So he uses his power, does all kinds of magic incantations, invocations, and sends him back. Indra says, you're not the only one who is a Mahayogi. I am Mahayogi, and I'm going to send him down. And then what does Vishwamitra do? Send him back. This fellow is sending him down. That fellow is sending him back. And then where is Trishanku? Trishanku is in between, somewhere in Antariksham, neither in heaven nor on earth. And so this is what is called Trishanku Swarga. Trishanku is in his own Swarga, in his own little heaven, lonely, can't even play a round of cards with other heaven goers, can't even look at all the other riches in heaven and admire. So this is a lonely heaven inhabited by Trishanku, thanks to this Mahayogi called who? Called, Vishwamitra here in this. So Mahayogi iva yaha vijrimbhayati. Vijrimbhayati srijati with a big with like a performance. So creates this universe as a big wondrous performance. And then how does he create? Swechhaya, through just the mere sankalpa, like even you in your dream. Mere sankalpa. Let me be many. Let me just enjoy being many as though. Really all this is as though. Just like the creation of the dream. You don't spend a lot of time thinking, why did I dream this? What happened? Doesn't matter, it is not real. It's a dream. And so similarly, the one who is interested in self-knowledge, the one who is a bhakta of Dakshinamurthy, does not spend a lot of time thinking about how the Jagat came into being, why the Jagat came into being, how the Jagat is sustained, when will the Jagat go back. All these things we are not interested in, because, just like we are not interested in how the rope snake came into the being. How did the snake come upon the rope, and why, when will it go, all these things. Because really speaking, what are we discussing? A non-existent as though thing. We cannot say the universe is non-existent, but you cannot say it is existent either. It is not self-existent because you are the one telling this universe exists. You are the one naming each and everything, objectifying each and everything in the universe. So you cannot categorically say it exists. Right up to starting with your body mind, right up to time and space, you cannot categorically say it exists. Because the definition of that which exists is that, it should be the same, past, present, future. It should be untouched by time. And then what? It should be non-negatable. Abadhitam sat trikale pitishtati iti sat. So the universe, you cannot say it is sat. Oh, that's too bad. Is it asat? Non-existent, because this person is ready to fight. Purva Pakshi, some offender, armchair philosopher comes into the arena and says, I want a boxing match with the Vedantin. No philosopher is a match for Vedantin. That is the whole, that is something to see. So the philosopher, gets into the ring and says, how can you say the universe is non-existent? Universe, is Sat. Jagat, Sat. Why? Drishyatvat. Drishyatvat means because I can objectify in each and everything. And then what do we say? We dismiss him with one biff. We say him or her, whoever it is. We dismiss them with one biff and thrown out of the ring completely. Like a comet, we send them off. How? We say, we give the same logic. This universe is not categorically existent by itself. Why? Because we give the same hetu. Hetu means drishyatvat, the reason. And what is the reason? Because it is drishya, objectified by me, who is, non-objectifiable, who is the source of all existence. And then we don't have to worry because we don't say the universe is non-existent. This is another problem. Oh, Adi Shankara writing these kinds of verses, Maya, Vadi, full of Maya, always discussing Maya. Maya means it makes the universe disappear. This is a dangerous knowledge. Yeah, it is dangerous if you're not ready, correct? Yeah, if you're ready, it's the most sane and the safest knowledge there is, really. It's dangerous in the wrong hands, correct? But, the thing is, we don't say the universe doesn't exist. We say the universe is the Lord. We say the universe is Bhagavan, Bhagavati. The universe is nothing but the Lord. From the standpoint of the raw material and the manifestation, we say it is Goddess. And then, that's why we have 9 days of worshipping all the manifestations in the universe called Navaratri, where the feminine aspect is totally reveled in and worshipped. And then what? And then from the standpoint of the Sankalpa, Svechaya, through whose mere will this whole thing is sustained, we say Bhagavan from the standpoint of the masculine. So what is the problem here? No, but you are dismissing the universe. We are not dismissing the universe. We are dismissing the universe as self-existent because there cannot be you self-existent, Bhagavan self-existent and universe self-existent. There's only one self-existent, that is you, whose nature is Bhagavan, and the universe is what? Not non-existent. The universe is Bhagavan. Bhagavan is not the universe. That is what the whole thing is. Universe is nothing but consciousness. Universe is nothing but Bhagavan, manifest Bhagavan. That's why we can worship Bhagavan in every name, every form, every function. No problem. I was at the Parliament of World Religions one time, and then there was this African, leader who gave a presentation, indigenous African leader, and then he said that we have so many deities, manifestations of the Lord. He says manifestations of the Creator. We have 33,000 manifestations that are benign, benevolent, and we have 33,000 that are not benevolent, malignant manifestations like tsunami, earthquake, etc. And then one of the evangelists asked him after his presentation, oh, don't you think that's too many gods, too many this, whatever, something, I forgot exactly how the question was worded. And this leader answered, we can have 33,000 more, no problem, because we know it's all one. That's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. So the manifestations need not be frightening. When you know that it's all one, when you know that it's just a manifestation of that very consciousness, it's just, we don't say the universe is non-existent. Oh, then the universe is existent? No. Oh, then what is the universe? It's neither existent nor non-existent. You cannot dismiss the universe. You cannot validate or ratify the universe as existing by itself, just like you exist by yourself without the need, for a certificate of existence. So then what is the universe? Not Sat. Oh, so it is not non-existent either. Yes, it is not Asat. Sat existent, not Sat non-existent. Then what is it? It is, we have a special word for it, Mithya. Mithya means dependent upon Sat. And if it is dependent upon Sat, it draws its existence from Sat. When you say universe is, that isness is Sat. That isness does not belong, that is doesn't belong to the universe. Is belongs to consciousness, Ishvara here. And so every manifestation is. Flower is, and then what? Bud is, flower tree is, bud is. Blossomed flower is, withered flower is, and then what? Flower turns into compost, compost is. So you see the flower changed into so many things, but the is remains the same. Is doesn't belong to the flower, is belongs to consciousness, Bhagavan, here. That's all it is. So Bhagavan lends the is to the universe, just like you lend your existence to all your whole dream Jagat, dream universe. Simple. That's all there is. There is nothing more to it. Mayavi iva, Mahayogi api iva, yaha vijrimbhati, swechhaya, without any, without anything. And, it vijrimbhayati, great performance with all the bells, whistles, fanfare. This Jagat is a wonderful performance. And then unto that, who teaches us this, who is the Guru Murti, Dakshinamurthy, Namaha, my namaskars. Very, very beautiful. Just, gorgeous. And these two verses, as I told you, make up the sum total of the other whatever is unfolded is again from the standpoint of the individual, or from the standpoint of the Jagat, or from the standpoint of that consciousness manifest as Ishvara, is just an elaboration of what we have seen. So the universe, the definition of Ishvara from the standpoint of the universe is what? Called Tatastha Lakshana, an incidental definition. And what is the permanent, unchanging Swarupa Lakshana? The intrinsic definition of Ishvara is Satchidananda. That Sat, which is the source of all existence, which is all-knowing, and which is limitless. And so now with those words we'll go to verse number 3. Yasyaiva sphuranam sadatmakam असत्कल्पार्थगं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् यत् साक्षात्करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये यस्य एव स्फुरणम्. Spuranam means the one whose manifestation. Spuranam here means motion, activity. Because of that Maya Shakti, things coming into being. Like if you see a time-lapse video of a flower, growing in the ground, the sapling, the leaves separating, and then and one tulip stem coming, and the tulip is small, and then it is nicely blossoming. So all this is called Spuranam. That motivation for that, seedling to split from the seed, and that knowledge that was already there in the seed coming to light, enjoying the sun, and the tulip just dancing in the sun. Daffodil, tulip, you see this, very nice, and dancing to the sun, dancing in the breeze, and dancing in the rain. You see all this, and so that is called Spuranam. So satta means existence. Sat, satyam, satta, same thing. Spuranam means that because of which that satta, becomes alive, that consciousness aspect of the sat. So sat is consciousness, and then the jnanam aspect of that sat. So sat, chit. So when you say sat, and then, which cannot be divorced from chit. Sat is chit, chit is sat. There is no sat without being a sentient sat. And that sentience here, which is manifest in the whole universe as the power to make things shake and move, is called Spuranam. So yasya Spuranam. And what kind of Spuranam is it? Sadatmakam. This is what is described here, non-separate from sat. That which is that existence coming to light, sadatmakam, of the nature of sat. And then what does it do? Sadatmakam asatkalparthagam bhasate. So Spuranam, sadatmakam Spuranam yasya bhasate. The one whose satchit shines as the universe. One whose existence and whose sentience shines as this vast, limitless universe. And then what does it do? Asat kalparthagam. It shines as this universe, which is, as though asat. What do you mean by as though asat? We will see that more, tomorrow. For now you can say it shines as asat. It is not asat, but it shines as though it is, this is the connection with the previous, stanza. Mayavi iva. So like even the magician, which makes something seem as though alive, or as though dead when it is not, or as though alive when it is not alive by itself. So similarly here, so this universe is dead without Bhagavan, it is not alive. Bhagavan, as though, by lending it's, by lending his, her own breath, by lending his, her own existence, makes it come alive. That is what is the idea. Very beautiful. We'll continue with this tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnavemevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.